This PSA was brought to you by the Peter G Show.
You may have second thoughts after the show.
Don't drink the Foster.
We're really talented. We should get Oscars.
Just pick out a car, for Christ's sake.
No, I'm one. Hi, my name is Peter. Yeah, I want.
Here's good.
Yeah.
Madam Perry.
I need to get back in the genie bottle.
Louis from Pennsylvania, you're on. He likes it. It's showtime.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, divorced dad, single dad, divorced dad, single dad, Peter G Show.
That's right, it's showtime. Wednesday, Thanksgiving Eve, actually. Uh-oh. Whose phone is playing? Oh, this is my phone. Sorry. So sorry. Thanksgiving Eve. Hope you're going to spend it with me. I have a guest tonight that hasn't shown up yet. I don't know if she's going to spend it with me here. Either way. I hope everybody's doing well, wherever you are, and whatever you're doing. I want to thank everybody. Peter G Show, Life of Peter G, right here every Wednesday, like clockwork, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. on the East Coast. And it's Thanksgiving Eve. I haven't had a night before in a while. I know a lot of people are probably out partying because they can. They don't have to get up for work in the morning and things like that. But either way, it's all good. Hang on one second. There we go. Tonight, I am going to talk about, because it's too late now. I don't know where she is. We spoke yesterday. Everything was honky-dory. But tonight we're going to talk about a girl that's been on this show a couple of times, 2 times. She was on the end of 2019 and then 2020. She's in her mid-20s. Had some daddy issues. I happen to know her father by just a fluke. I saw her father way back then in 2019 complaining about something on Facebook. I reached out to him and had him come on the show. And he just has all kinds of things going on. And I'll talk about that. But the thing is, this guy ends up being this girl's father. And he's not that great of a father. He just disappeared. And it messed up this girl's head. They ended up seeing the show. And then they kind of came around, and I'm watching this girl, and I ended up having her on the show. I ended up having her mother on the show. And then I ended up following her because down the road, there was like more issues. You know, Facebook. Let's face it, folks. I started on Facebook years ago, watching people talk about things in their lives. I mean, that's what people do. And you know, I'm seeing all these things go on, and it's not just her, it's not just, you know, him. It's like people are having all kinds of things, whether you're telling me what you're eating, you know, showing some great looking food or prayers for my mother or something like that. But I started following her, and I'm watching the posts. And again, I had her on the show 2 times within 11 months because there was some changes and things going on. And I got we went back and we pulled some old clips. And you know, again, my intentions are to have her on the show and talk about the past. Excuse me. And then, you know, I want to talk about where she is now, because there's, you know, it's been an evolution in the journey, and that's been 1920. It's been about 4 years of stuff. And it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. But Nicole's supposed to be on the show. I hope she pops on. I don't know where she is. And if she's not, we'll go on without her. And I wish, because I'd like to give her the final say. I'd like to have her in my presence while I'm talking about her, you know. But I just hope everything's okay. And she pops on. That's what's happening tonight, you know. So, again, the one thing about doing live shows is live. There's no like, oh, we'll just do it again and re-record it and then fix it. But anyway, that's what's happening. Next week, I always love telling you ahead of time what's going on. Next week, it's going to be me. Talking to you. The holidays are now, we're getting deep into the holidays, okay? Thanksgiving's tomorrow. And I'm just going to start talking about things. I want to, I'm going to talk to you too. If you want to call in, I'll take your calls. There's so much to talk about. The holidays, a lot of people struggle with the holidays. Just things to talk about. I just like doing that. I don't really necessarily need guests when it comes to the holidays. I love the holidays. There have been some difficult ones for me just as well, just like anybody else, but it's going to be next week, you and me, and perhaps the phones. So you might want to, sometimes those are our greatest shows. I mean, we're just talking about things. And I doubt I'll get bounced off of YouTube because I won't be talking about current events, which I wish I'd like to, but we'll save those for down the road. There's plenty of next year coming, I promise. So that's happening next week. Don't forget, though, please, regardless of what YouTube does to me, and they've been going deep into my shows and pulling them down one at a time if they don't like what's on them. They're really getting meticulous. They're not suspending me. I'll give them that much, but it really kind of sucks. They don't like certain things. They just take you down. So much for freedom of speech, right? But please, though, go to my YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button. Let's just keep pushing over there and saying, hey, you know what? Regardless, can't stop me, can't slow me down. And again, for those of you who are really busy, I'd like you to please, if you can't watch the show, put an earbud in your ear while you're driving in the car. Google Peter G Show podcast. Sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. It's like happens a lot. Just take it on the road with you. You can listen to it. It's the next best thing to being here, to watch it. If you can't watch it, all of them are on audio, like 25 different podcast platforms, like audio podcast platforms. Nowadays, everything is called a podcast. It's hard to differentiate. This is a video. This is more of a streaming TV show, but if you want to call it a podcast, call it what you want, so long as you call it. But if you can't watch, because I know it takes a lot of time, there's a lot of great topics, just do me a favor and put an earbud in your ear and just Google the audio podcasts. They're on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all of them, Google's and this and that. We're all over the place, but there's almost 400 shows you can pick from and topics, and some are serious, some are kind of stupid, but entertaining. And it's really about getting the best of both worlds, all of it. Entertainment with a purpose. That's where that's at. Sorry, I'm double timing here because I really wish Nicole would log in like she was supposed to. This is really disappointing because I hope she's okay, for one. But she's not, to me, the type to just stand me up. But we'll see. I hope she logs on because with or without her, show must go on. But that's what's going to happen. But we're gonna start in on this whole thing. But first, we need to hear from my good friends over at Clean Star Products with their money-saving fuel additive DX1 driver, and we'll be right back because we just need to take a little commercial break. Be right back.
Hello, I'm Tyrone Thompson of CleanStarProducts.com. This is DX1 Driver in the news, and here's what our friends have to say.
So I'm here to recap on the DX1 I've used. I put it in the oil and I put it in the gas. While I'm using it just for about 3 tanks. Cleaned everything out. I got every ounce of power back in my truck.
When Jared's truck was new, it had a lot of power. Then over time, it began to slow down. He got it all back with our DX1 Driver program.
Something you got to see for yourself. It's a great product. It's affordable. And it blows all the other additives and esters out of the water.
DX1 Driver is the finest oil in the world from a California environmental company. It goes into the fuel system and the oil. It's the only green grade product qualified for the carbon credits program, giving you better fuel mileage, lower emissions, and increased horsepower. So join the fuel savings revolution today. Go to CleanStarProducts.com/shop.
That's right, folks. Clean Star products with their money-saving fuel additive DX1 driver. All I can tell you is that this little bitty bottle works. They got a product that works. You pour one of these into a clean oil change, it lasts the whole oil change. And every time you put a fresh tank of gas in your car, you put one of these little bottles in your car into the gas tank, and boom, starts doing its thing. Here's what's best of all. You probably have questions. You can go to www.cleanstarproducts.com. There's a phone number there. You can talk to them personally. They will talk to you. That's pretty cool, and give you the information you need. And should you decide to purchase this money-saving fuel additive that not only helps your car get better fuel mileage, but it cleans the engine and it gives you more horsepower, especially for older cars and things like that. But if you were to purchase it, mention the Peter G Show, and they will give you 5 bottles. That's right, 5 bottles for the price of 4. What did you say, Peter? Yes, I said it. 5 bottles for the price of 4. Just mention the Peter G Show that you saw it on the Peter G Show. And again, if anything, you got questions, just talk to them. Then you decide. But it makes sense to save money. Promise. Okay. Moving right along, I still don't have her. At this point, I should be introducing her. But let's just make believe. Because I have a bunch of things that of her from the past that we are going to talk about. And I just hope she's okay. I see my main concern is because people don't normally do this. In the old days, when we were doing shows late night on Sunday nights, and if you were on the East Coast, you know, it used to be like 11:30 over there, and people would fall asleep, you know, because it was late. And so it was kind of understandable. It would happen every so often. But then we changed, and we went from Sunday nights to Wednesdays. And on the East Coast, it's 9 o'clock at night. It is not 11:30 at night. So it makes it a lot easier for East Coast people. And she's East Coast. She's in Georgia somewhere. But again, my main concern is because she's young. I doubt she's already, in bed. My main concern is that she's okay. Because I don't get many no-shows. And not from this one. I wouldn't think I would. So we're going to just keep moving on. The thing was, let me set this up. And maybe with a little luck, she'll pop on and was late in traffic, or car broke down, ran out of gas, whatever. Phone should still work, though. Nowadays, it used to be back in the old days, okay, we didn't have cell phones and all that. Nowadays, people live with their cell phones. It's more important than, it's closer to you than your child or children. So nowadays, there's not too much of an excuse for not getting back to somebody, especially in a situation like this. But anything can happen. So I'm crossing my fingers. Let's take a drink real quick. Oh, boy. Happy Thanksgiving tomorrow. And be thankful. I am grateful totally about everything. Woo! Smooth. Okay. So let's make believe Nicole's here. And maybe I'll be able to introduce her before this show is over. But Nicole was a young lady that I found. And these shows you can go back. These shows are available in one of the hundreds of shows that we have. But there was a guy that I saw who I knew growing up. He's about 10 years, maybe 8-10 years younger than me. At the time, I was probably 20 years old. And I actually was giving this kid drum lessons. He was from the same town that I was. Well, okay, time goes on. I move away. Don't see him, don't hear from him. He got older. Facebook brings a lot of people together. Facebook was my main connection from me being in LA to being in connection with Florida. A lot of people were on Facebook, and still are. And see how people are doing, who passed away, who's, eating what, and all these kind of things. Who had kids, who got married, who got divorced, all the above. So I found this guy, and the way I found him was he was on Facebook, and he was just crying about a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, just family stuff, personal stuff. And I'm watching him, and I'm going, holy crap, that's Jeff. And finally I reach out to him. I go, dude, what are you doing? And we started talking. I go, why don't you come on my show and let's talk about it. Let's just talk about it. And he did. So bring him on the show. He starts throwing up on the show about stuff, which is great. That's what I want. I want everybody to understand what he claims he's going through, and ends up he's got like 3 kids and another one getting ready to pop out with 2 or 3 different baby mamas, and pays no attention. Well, he was in a current relationship at the time, and he said, well, but I go, what about your other kids? Because as he did this show, I was finding out he had a couple of other kids and things like that. And he's talking about, he's had some issues himself and he's had bad things happen to him. It's like, okay, but what about being a father? Because anybody who knows me, I'm all about being a father. I've made many decisions over the past 12 years, 14 years, sacrificing some things to make sure I was a father. Business-wise, they were tough decisions to make, but morally, it was hands down. It's cost me a lot too, but inside, I'm rich. I'm a gazillionaire because it was worth it. But some people aren't wired the way I am. And a lot of people just go and get people pregnant or have babies, and then they just disappear and they got to go live their own life and all this crap. Anyway, this guy came on the show, and I'll give him credit for fessing up and saying, I'm a dumbass. I screwed up. I'm a dumbass. The hope was that he's going to learn from doing the show and try to make better. Like, you can't change the past, but you can always start from here and make things better. And after the show was over, quickly after the show was over, I guess the baby mama saw him because they're hooked onto his Facebook or something like that. And I found this one girl who is the daughter of him. That's like his first child that he's absent from. And she was 26. It's 4 years ago. So she's probably 30 now. And she was just, it messed her up. Head games, just no daddy. So I look her up, get her on the show, and her name's Nicole. And she's supposed to be on the show tonight because not only was she on the show back then once to talk about why, because I'm watching her go through things, the hair, the piercings, and just all kinds of things. You can tell there's a cry for help. You just can tell. I promise you that if you look at a lot of these kids now, I hate to say these kids, you kids, get off my yard, you kids. But if you look at these kids now, the ones screaming for Palestine and the ones who are climate changing, and they have no clue what they're talking about, but they're just jumping on the bandwagon because they want to feel like they're part of something. And it's always the green-haired one, or something. It's like they're confused. They're confused. They're somebody's kid and they're confused. And I'd like to know what goes on. I mean, again, things happen, but there's a lot of neglect that goes on with our youth. This last generation of kids have really gotten off easy. I hate to say it, but they just got taught nothing. Not all, but a good handful of them. We're starting to see it now. And this is what's going to happen with our country. We're going to have a bunch of dumbasses. They're screaming and yelling about nothing just so they can scream and yell. We're worried about all these mediocre issues when we got so many big problems, and we have to worry about these. I'm going to get off subject. But the problem is I saw this girl reaching out for help. You can just tell. So she comes on the show. She's got 3 kids at 26 years old. Had her first kid at 17. Again, no daddy. Now, there are some people in life that don't have a father from a father passes away. There's some things that can't be helped. But this case was just a dumbass man who just changed his mind, and regardless of whatever the relationship was with his ex, he just didn't want to be around. So he started fertilizing other places. And he was about to have his 4th child when he came on the show. So we spoke to Nicole then. And then she came on and stated her case, and a lot of head games and he said, she said stuff. But I tried to explain to her that you can't. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You're just going to have to, don't worry about it. You've made it this far. You've got help. You've got people. I know it leaves a hole in you, but life is short. You got kids to worry about. We hang up. Show's over. Another 10 months, 11 months goes by. I start seeing her making some new claims. Nicole no longer wants to be Nicole. Nicole wants to be and transition to Nick. Now I'm really seeing cries for help. And this is before all this transition talk was. Only these past 2 years. We're talking 3 years ago, 4 years ago, almost 4 years ago. So this is before it all became even more outrageous and, with all these verbs and nouns and pansexuals and, I'm transgender and I'm bifocal. But she wants it, and she was dead set. She was dead set that she wanted to become Nick and start getting hormone shots, and she wanted to transition over and be basically a guy, or close, or imitate a guy. The reason I was having her on the show tonight, which I don't know where the hell she's at, she should have been here, is because through the years, we hung up the phone that second show after we talked about it, and I left off with her, are you really sure you want to do this? And she said, yeah, I'm really sure. This is who I was meant to be. So once again, if you're hanging out with people like-minded people, whatever the heck it is, the out of bounds, the green hair, the yellow hairs, the purple hairs, and everybody, they all support each other. So they put it into her head, you should be a dude, because she's bisexual, I guess she was, and then she became pansexual. What do you call it when you're not a man or a girl or binary? All these stupid names that they've made up. They don't mean anything. They're just made up names. It's fantasy land. But that's just the way it is now. This is the world we're living in, and they demand, and we have to respect that. It's like bullshit. Go love who you want to love. Be bisexual. Go love girls, guys, whatever you want to do. But don't expect me to play your reindeer games. You are whoever the hell you are, and I'm not going to call you all these new words that I don't know who the hell came up with them, but they really need their asses kicked for bringing all these new words into play that really mean nothing. But you made it mean something. You're trying to make it mean something. And on top of that, we have to respect it because you made it up. Who the hell, it's like, screw you. Who the hell are you? I will like you if you're a good person. I will not like you if you're a bad person. And that's it. But if I have to spend a month celebrating your ridiculousness, I'm not going to do it. Just be a person. So we hung up the phone with Nicole because I was really feeling bad. I go, this girl's making a bad mistake. She's confused. Just like all our youths, when you're young, you're all over the place. You're vulnerable. You make bad decisions. Hell, I was in my 20s and 30s. You still make bad decisions. You're forever learning. But some people more than others. Some people are a lot less grounded. And so we hung up the phone. And I felt bad because I go, this girl's about to make a big mistake. And in my mind, I was, well, she could always stop and reverse. But depending on how far you go, if you want to be a guy, do you remove your breasts? Do you go that far? The testosterone shots, you start growing hair on your face, which you'll see on the video clips. It's like, who the hell wants that? Biggest pain in the ass is shaving. But if you want to be burly, a burly girl. But I was bummed. Because I said, I know she's just grabbing straws, reaching for things, and somebody is supporting her, putting these things into her head and saying it's okay, which it is okay if that's really who you really are, really, really. But if it's just a taste test, it could be a big mistake because reversing things is not as easy as it sounds. when you start damaging your cells in your body and start making changes. This is what's happening with a lot of these kids. They think they want to do something, they do it, and then they get into their 20s or 30s and then they have regrets. There's already been people who've been on TV talking about it, talking about what a mistake they made. But it's too late. Like, it damaged things. Things just don't go back to the way they are correctly. You're altering genes, hormones, all kinds of stuff. David's a lesbian. And I respect that, David. If you're a lesbian, that's great. Oh, what are you doing up? Isn't it your bedtime? I got a no-show guest, so but either way, we hung up the phone, and I felt really bad because I said this girl's making a big mistake. And I let it go at that. And then I just really didn't see much of her. Here we are, 3 years down the road. And I see her. And she didn't transition. She looks more like a girl than she ever has. I see less. And she was one of those girls, again, I wish she was here. I feel like I'm talking behind her back because I there's nothing wrong with what I'm saying. I'm telling the truth. I just wish she was here so I can get her view of the whole thing on it, because the whole purpose I have her on this show tonight, wanted to have her on this show, is because I'm proud of her, that she's come to a certain point now where she's the journey and the evolution. She got out. She's slowly getting out of the doing stupid stuff phase. And I don't want to say normal, because you don't have to be normal. You just have to be realistic. And she's not here, so I could tell her. And if she's chickened, I can't imagine her chickening out, because she would at least say, I can't make it, I can't do it. So I'm really hoping everything's okay, but this screws everything up, because I really wanted her on, and the show's not over yet. Maybe she'll pop on, but this sucks, because I was looking forward to this. I'm proud of her. I have watched this girl go through a bunch of crap based on shitty father. No father there. Now, don't get me wrong, folks. There's crappy mothers, too. It's good, great mothers, great fathers. I'm an advocate for the good ones. But there's plenty of crappy ones on both genders. We've gone through hell for our kids. It's important to me. However, I've watched this girl. I just kept an eye on her. Can't do a whole lot, but I can talk to her. She knows I let her know I care. And she's kind of come about now. She was one of those girls who had the friggin' bull ring in her nose, or if it wasn't a loop that looked like like a door knocker underneath your nose, it was the little balls sticking out, that like it was an upside down hook, and there's these little balls. Ladies, this is just between you and me. And I think I stand for a lot of guys, but this is a little tip. If you think piercing the bottom of your nose and putting a door knocker as a piece of jewelry in the underneath your lip right there, or those little balls hanging right there out your nose like they're falling out of your nose, if you think that's sexy or that's attractive, you need to rethink it, because I promise you that 9 out of 10 guys are going to say, well, I put up with it, but it's not the greatest thing. It's not that attractive. You got the pierced eyebrows. You put a little diamond in the lip of your nostril right there. You put bars in your ears. Okay. But the door knocker thing, correct me if I'm wrong, but putting a bull ring in your nose that's hanging out like a loop, or those balls, they're just not that attractive. And again, where do you see most of them? It usually comes, with additional green or purple or orange hair. And, the ones who want to stand out, the ones who need that special attention. Now, again, I've had all colors of hair. I've had bleach blonde, Billy Idol white hair. I've had burgundy wine hair. Had a lot of different colors of hair, but I was in the music industry, It's kind of like it was just part of the whole gig. Now I have gray hair. But at the end of the day, those things scream for, I'm looking for attention. I need something. You need something. And so just a tip, all right? You heard it here on the Peter G Show. The jewelry under your nose is not attractive. If you put a bull ring in your nose and you think it's hot, or you put the little balls that hang underneath your nose that go with the loop where you pierce a hole through the center of the upper cartilage of your nose, and you have those little gold balls hang out your nose, that's not very hot at all. Not that attractive. You heard it here first, folks. PSA on the Peter G Show. Either way, she used to have all that stuff, and then now I've seen her. There's less and less piercings. They've kind of come out, and she's wearing her hair kind of normal. Yeah, I think it's still braided in some funky colors and things like that, but she's evolved being more of a woman, starting to turn into a woman than a cry for help. Let's put it that way. So here's what I'm going to do. Hang on. God, if I knew she wasn't going to show up, I got so many things I could do. But this one way or another, it's meaningful. I'm going to play these videos. I was going to play them and then get her reaction to some of these videos and things like that, with her present. But since she's not here, we're just going to play them anyway. And this first one is the show that her father was on before I knew her or anything about her, that I was just talking to him because I could see him just spiraling downward on Facebook. And I, happen to know him. And I said, dude, come on the show. Let's talk about this. We got to get to the bottom of this. Something's seriously wrong. But this is the first one. This is Jeff. And this is just a quick clip of him kind of giving the whole setup thing. So check this out.
You have a grown daughter, pretty much. Do you have a relationship with her? I'm more about the kids, because as adults, you want to go blow your heads off and scream and yell. That's fine. I want to know what's going on with the kids.
Well, my daughter doesn't really much talk to me because of her own reasons. And do I have something to do with that? I'm sure I probably do.
It goes both ways. I mean, why would
it does. Because of just too much of me pointing the finger. I mean, a lot of crazy stuff has happened to me, and I do have proof of it, but it doesn't even matter anymore.
Yeah, you can't blame. You cannot blame. Keep saying, "Well, this happened to me, so I'm all." You know what I mean?
You're right.
You got common sense,
right.
dude. Let me ask you another question.
You're right.
I'm all over the map, but I'm backing up. Do you remember when you were a kid? You used to ride a motorcycle.
Yeah.
And you got and there was you were behind a dump truck and a brick or something fell off the truck and hit you in the head and cracked your helmet. Remember that?
Yeah.
Do you think that has anything to do with it?
No, but God, I wish I could blame it
because I've been doing some thinking.
This is just sheer
stupidity.
Not much less just stupidity. It's just selfishness.
I only have one. And I waited a long time. Mine's only 13, but I don't know. I gave up a lot of stuff to make sure I was going to be her father. I went through hell to make sure I was going to be her father. And
I should have.
Well, woulda, shoulda, coulda. I mean, it's not over.
No.
But
it's not.
But you keep bringing kids into this world is what I'm watching.
I know that. It's irresponsible.
It's
irresponsible.
Yeah, good. Okay.
And it's very irresponsible, and it's not that I'm just running out there carelessly getting people pregnant, because I don't just do that. I'm in a relationship, and the doom of all my relationships, for the most part, have been me, pride, selfishness, and just me. And I guess it just took just one last lump sum that just really just realized that I'm a fucking idiot. Sorry for the language.
No, it's okay. Because you hit the nail. I think you hit the nail on the head. I didn't want to start pissing you off.
It's not you're not going to piss me off. It's not about me, which, I understand everybody has a me. Everybody has, a point to where they should be recognized for, or heartfelt for blah, blah, blah. But, when I realized that when you have children involved,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter about me. It matters about them.
It sure does.
And if I would have been, and I'm embarrassed to say it, if I would have been a better man and a bigger father, I'm not going to give you excuses.
Okay.
I screwed up,
Yeah.
and I'm here.
Okay.
That was Jeff. Now, back then, we only had phone calls. We didn't have, we didn't do two-way videos and things like that. It's funny to see the evolution of the show too. I mean, because since 2017, and I've been going through a lot of these old shows. Been quite a journey. But anyway, so that was Jeff recognizing his faults, and not getting defensive about them. Totally saying, "Hey, I screwed up." So I'm trying to say, well, I got to give you that much. At least you're aware of your problems, and now all you got to do is fix it. Make it. You can't change that, but you can put your best foot forward since you are so aware of these things. And I'm saying how important it is to keep your relationship with your children. He didn't, and he still doesn't. I wish he was on, because I was going to ask her if he was, and I did happen to find out yesterday through. I didn't even ask, but he is still alive, because I always wonder about that stuff too. But at the time when he was on the phone with me in 2019, June of 2019, he was currently in a relationship with a younger girl, and he had, I think, one baby with him. Let's see, what did you just say? Can you imagine what it's like when they have a cold or allergies? Imagine what it's like. What, kids? Yeah, I can. Nobody likes to be sick. So Jeff was already with a girl at the current time when he was on the show, and this was like his third child, I think, with another one on the way, something like that. And he said, well, it's different. I wasn't just out having kids. I, at least was in a relationship, and we just happened to, have a kid. It just happened to. Like it's no big deal. You can't just spit out kids like it's no big deal. They're not, as Greg Phillinganes said, they're not Cabbage Patch Kids. They're babies. They're real humans. So come to find out now, he's not even with that girl anymore. And she just married somebody else who she seemed happy with, because they all started coming onto Facebook and texting. And I mean, they're all watching him and, sticking up for him or cutting or yelling at him or whatever you want to call it. But the thing is, he never learned his lesson. Not lesson, but he never made better like he said he was gonna. And it just blows my mind. I just don't understand that. With a nose, there we go. Okay, so sorry, I'm already past that. So Rebecca said, can you imagine what it's like when they have a cold or allergies? And I said, what are you talking about? Because I'm talking about kids now already. And she's talking about when you have a ring in the nose. Yeah, kind of gets in the way, but I guess they get used to it. But again, ladies, not attractive. Not attractive. Not attractive. All right. So, Nicole, I have Jeff, the dad, on the show. And then Nicole, I finally get her to come on the show. And I said, look, I want to bring you on. And let's just talk about you, and let's see what's going on in your head, because I was watching her spew on Facebook. That's the beauty of Facebook. That's why this show started on Facebook Live many years ago, only Facebook Live, because everybody talks about their lives. They just have a need to be heard. I get it. People want to be heard. Hi, I'm Peter. This is my show. But we brought Nicole on, so check this out, and we'll go from there.
Tonight, I have the daughter of him, who he hasn't had contact with, and I've been watching her on Facebook too. And she goes up and down. Happy, sad, don't know what's going on with her. But here's the beauty of it. We're getting ready to talk to her, and after I talk to her for a little while, I'm going to talk to her mama too, because her mama has raised her. And we're going to get to see what's going on and see if we can kind of let it all out. You got to let a little pressure off the steamer. or a little steam off the pressure cooker, however you want to put it. But at the end of the day, the bottom line is the past is the past, and you can't live in the past. It's easy to do. What makes you go from like life is beautiful to, you know, life is sucking?
In general, I guess it has to do with him and the absence of him, I guess you could say.
Sure. I mean,
it's just one moment I try to reach out and talk to him, and he wants to hatred talk towards me, and then he wants to complain to everybody else that he don't have a relationship between me and him, when I've tried multiple times to talk to him, and it's just nothing but hatred from him.
Even after he aired on this show?
Yes, I tried to message him a couple of weeks back, and he told me he didn't have time for none of this nonsense. I said, what nonsense? All I was doing was trying to reach out and say, hey.
Really? He's not on Facebook anymore. I don't know where he is. Or if he is, he like disassociated with me, so I don't see things. I'm not sure.
He has me blocked on there, so I don't know.
Okay. Well, contacting him, what good is that going to do then?
Not really none.
I'm just saying that here's the thing, because I'm all focused on you. And, you know, again, I get it. This stuff burns into the brain. Certain things you don't forget as a child. I totally get it. But for you to be the best you're a pretty girl. I mean, you got your whole life ahead of you, and sometimes that little bit of that past is screwing up the whole future. And you can't help it because you just dwell on it. I get it. But, I mean, don't you think that if you could, I mean, you can't, it's affecting you. Would you say that it's affecting you?
Yeah, I would.
So there's Nicole coming on and kind of explaining the gist of it for the first time coming on the show. Again, we didn't have the video going on at that point. Still on the phone calls. But you get the point. I mean, pretty much everything I've explained is pretty much what she's saying. She's got issues with him. He promises, and I've been there. My ex had an ex. I remember because my ex had 2 children previous. And I remember when one of them was 13 or 8, waiting on Father's Day for her father to come pick her up. She's waiting all day long. It's Father's Day. They want to be with them for Father's Day. When they're little, it's a big deal. You know, they get older. It's like, you know, it's a different story. But she's waiting all day long, and he was busy getting drunk and playing golf, getting buzzed and playing golf with his buddies. Never showed up. And to look at her face at that time, I remember she was so let down. It's like, why would you do that to a child? Why? What? You know, again, these are guys, and again, there's ladies like this too. But you know, these happen to be the stories that I know right now that I'm talking about. But you just blow their little minds out of the water. You break their hearts. They're so excited to do, when they're that age, they're excited to do things. You know, back then with my daughter, you know, I could get her to take as many pictures as I want, and we'd be doing all these little stupid things, and she'd be happy to do it. Now, she just looks at me. She says, "Yeah, right." You know, so they're so willing and innocent. I guess that's the word, innocent. But you know, and then you just don't show up like a total jerk because you're selfish. But that's what happened with her. So anyway, I mean, and she's not a child. She's in her 20s. She's 26 when we're talking to her. But yet she is a child. You know, she missed out on a lot of things that, although, again, it happens to a lot of people, but there's a lot of things she's still longing for that are affecting her. And it you know, you can tell. It's, again, she's crying out for things. Still not getting over it. I mean, you don't ever get over those things. You just learn how to live with it. Because you think, you know, why can't I be normal like most everybody else? It's tough. That's why I made, and a lot of people make the decisions to sacrifice their own selves to make sure that they don't, you know, screw them up too, because it's really not their fault. Just because you want to get a divorce or you want to disappear or whatever it is, they're caught in the middle and they get, you know, they suffer. It's not fair. Anyway, so Nicole, I start digging in with Nicole, and we're talking. I want to start finding out things about her, about her kids and how she's currently doing. So here, check this out.
Sometimes I'll sit there and catch myself saying, yeah, I wish that we had that relationship, but it ain't going to happen.
You have kids?
Yes.
How
I have
many?
3 boys.
3 boys. Holy crap. How did you, how old?
I got about to be a 9, 7, and a 2-year-old.
Holy crap. You've been busy, girl. So I just asked you a second ago how old you were when you had your first child.
17.
You were 17. Pretty early.
Yes.
That locks you down. Makes it hard to be productive when you're catering to babies. How do you manage you work too, right?
At the moment, no. I'm in between jobs.
You were working, though.
Yeah.
How do you manage 3 babies and work? I mean, help from your mama, I'm sure.
Yeah, she helps me, and so does my fiance.
Okay. How's that working out?
It's going good.
Okay. Because, I found, sadly, a lot of girls, cling on and do things the wrong way just because of daddy issues. That's why I hate this kind of stuff, because it's damaging. And the whole thing is, that's why, to me, my opinion is easier said than done. I get that, but it's to let go of all that shit. And I know it's way easier said than done, because I'm not in your shoes, but you're not the only one who's, believe me, this is an ongoing issue from mamas to daddies to everything. It's like you just have to find a way to rise above it, because your kids depend on you, and you depend on you. You need to not be in that funk. And again, I get it. You can say, I wasn't there or whatever, but we can go on and we can bag on him all night long, but it's not going to change a thing.
I look at my kids, and that's my motivation, is to be a better parent towards them than what he was with me.
Yeah. You can only hope, right? Learn from it. You think that most people would learn from their mistakes? I mean, she has 3 kids. She had her first child at 17. What does that tell you? Telling you, it's all about parenting. Whenever there's issues, things go wrong because there's not somebody clamping down on them, paying enough attention. 17. Can you imagine being 17 years old and already having to give up your childhood because you have a child? There it goes. It's out the door. You automatically graduate into having to start becoming an adult, which can go either way still. But it's tough. And then who gets the burden of it? The parents or somebody, because at 17 years old, you can't take care of yourself. You're not even out of school. Or are you dropping out because of it? It's tough. It's really tough. It changes everything. Hell, I had my daughter at 43 years old. I had to think about it for a second. 43 years old. And I'm thinking to myself, what's the big deal? Life is pretty much under control. It was then. It isn't anymore. It isn't anymore. But at the time, I had a pretty good grip on things. I'm going, okay, I've waited a long time. I was busy. Jumping on planes, going places. What's the big deal? Now we just have a kid. Not a problem. Let me tell you, even as confident as I was at 43 years old, when I had that baby, immediately, you feel a change within you. Big time. Big time. Life did change. Focal point changes. Everything changes for a very long time, like forever, kind of. Or you don't give a shit and you become, a piece of crap and you walk, and you don't do your job. But I couldn't help it. I changed, but it was so deep within. It's like there was like no control over it. It was like all of a sudden it's like, wow, love. It's your baby. It's your baby. How could you not? It's heartbreaking sometimes too when things go awry. Your child starts getting crazy, and you do the best you can. You can't lock them up, but they got to grow. It's hard, even when you're doing really good. You got to give them room to grow. Sometimes they got to burn their fingers, but mistakes can be made, and it breaks your heart. You're the one burning because they're just bulletproof. They think no big deal. They'll get it someday. So no matter even how good you do, it can be tough, let alone the ones that just walk away and they just let their kid just, go fend for yourself, forage for yourself. Let your mother handle it or let your father handle it. I got to live my life. It's crazy ass stuff. So after talking to Nicole about that, and she's 17 and having her first child, and then she has 2 more, and at the time she says she's got a fiance. So she's thinking she's going to settle in and all that. Well, in my pre-interview phone call yesterday, I wish he was here to talk about it. That guy is no longer in the scene anymore for whatever reason. So things forever change. You think things are going to be good. You close your eyes for a second and life continues to keep moving with or without people in your life. But you still, no matter what, have 3 children. And you're young, you're 26 years old, and you got 3 kids, and you gotta, you need help, and you gotta work. And what are you gonna be when you grow up? Do you have time to be anything? Which was how she's kind of evolving right now, and I wanted to talk to her. I really wish she was here. I just pray that there's nothing wrong. Because if there is nothing wrong, she's gonna get a friggin' talking to from me. But I don't want anything to happen. Things happen. People get into accidents and all that kind of stuff, but it's just not like her I don't think she'd stand me up. At least I don't think she would. So I'm having to speak for her from what I know now. I'd rather hear it from her. But the show's not over yet. She might pop on. So I'm going, what does your mama think about all this stuff? And end up getting her mother on the phone with her. So this is just a little snippet of her mother and, what she's thinking about this whole deal. So check this out. This was Ann, Nicole's mother.
Ann, you with me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, now, Ann, just make sure you talk nice and clean right into the phone. And I got both of you on the phone. Now, I've been talking to your daughter. I don't know if you've been hearing my end of the conversation or not, but have you?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So your daughter, she keeps on trying to reach out to your ex. And do you talk to your ex at all?
No, he don't like me. He blames me for them not having a relationship, and I've always tried to get them to have one.
Right, but I thought after the conversation I had with him back when he was on the show that maybe he'd try to reach out to Nicole and say, "Hey, I've been an ass. I know it, but I'm sorry." But apparently that didn't. I thought he would hear himself and realize that. But apparently, she says she's tried to reach out to him, and that hasn't worked.
No, it hasn't.
All right. So you've been the focal point throughout Nicole's whole life, bringing her up as a single mother?
Yes, sir.
All right. So some of the struggles with her?
Yeah, there's been a few, yeah.
I mean, she's struggling. I can hear it in her posts. You know what I mean? She goes up and down a lot of mood swings of life's, she feels shortchanged. I get it. How do you deal with it?
It's hard sometimes, but I tell her she's just got to move on because I've seen him say he was going to come get her and then her heart would be broken. And I told her,
yeah,
it happens.
And that recently or in the past?
In the past and in the future. I've told her he's not going to change.
Well, I mean, is he still in Florida?
Yeah, he's in Florida. He's been harassing the other baby mama, the one that just had the little girl.
So now he's got 4 kids? Is that true?
Yeah, because he's got a new little girl.
He's got a son somewhere that he doesn't see either. Is that true?
Yeah, 13-year-old, and he's got the 2 by that one young girl, Nicole.
Wow, this is a Maury Povich show. You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? Kind of is. You are the father. Anyway, so that was Nicole's mother just putting in her opinion, 2 cents in, of, because she's having to live it. She's getting the blunt of it. She has to pick up the slack for her daughter. She sees it all. She's got to hear it. The he said, she said, he doesn't do anything. And that was her ex. And she's got to deal with it too. Everything trickles downhill, even to the kids. They suffer from it too. But anyway, so that show was in January of 2020. Come September of 2020, or through the summer, I start seeing some things. This is what really, I told you that I see her on Facebook talking about wanting to change her physical appearance. And this is what really got me concerned. I go, okay, now shit's getting crazy. It's one thing with all the piercings and having this, multicolored hairs and the nose rings and all this crap. But now you want to start affecting your body, and you want to change your appearance, and not only change your appearance, you want to be more of a man than the woman, the girl that you are. So it got my attention. As I will say, you'll hear it in the clip. And this was September 2020, and this is from Nicole wanting to transition to be. And that was the thing. Before I even start this, constantly on Facebook, I'm watching. She's constantly changing her name. One day she's, she puts her name on Facebook and it's this, and then it's this other slang kind of name, and it's the constant changing. It's what the hell is wrong with who you are? Because constantly changing your name, along with doing, poking holes through your face and all that. But now she's not only wanting to change her name from Nicole to Nick, but now she wants to change her physical appearance medically. And that's where it's okay, I need to talk to her. I want to talk to her because I'm scared for her. I'm thinking she's making a huge mistake, which she was. I mean, now looking at it, because I know she never did it, thank God. But check this out. This is are we on the right clip here? Number 5. Yeah. Check this out. This is Nicole. This is September. We went from January 2020, when she's just talking about the heartache of all this kind of stuff. And now, again, more things going through her head and stuff she wants to do. So check this out.
I've been watching you because you occasionally pop on, and I like your things, whatever you do. And you say something, and if I see you freaking out, I'll make a, freak out face, and I'll say, what's going on? Well, you got my attention again. Do you know why?
No.
You don't know why?
No.
Take a wild guess.
The announcement I made on Facebook about a week ago?
Yeah, it was more than a week ago, but yeah, correct. Yeah, you're right. Maybe it was a week ago. I don't know. Everything seems I'm all out of whack. So here's what I'm going to let me set this up real quick, okay?
All right.
Nicole was the young lady who's been on my show once or twice. Nicole? Once, okay. Feels like, because I see you. Feels like more. But Nicole was on my show, and back then she was a mom of 3 kids. She has a mama that helps her out. She's, going through life, and everything is good. And you had a boyfriend too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you loved him and all that stuff. And life was good. You were, for the most part, at least, at the end of the show, the moral of the story was you had people around you that love you. I see you have friends that love you on Facebook. It's what else you going to, you can't, it's no perfect scenario. But the bottom line was, it was Nicole that I was talking to. All of a sudden, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, you made this public announcement that you no longer want to be Nicole, you want to be Nick, correct? Why?
It's something I've been basically battling with for quite some time now. And I've been talking with some friends, and they kind of made it easier for me to bring that issue to surface and realize that It's who I really am, who I want to be, versus trying to be somebody I'm not for everybody else.
Do you really think that all these years you were somebody that you weren't? That you were Nicole, a girl who had 3 children. It's not like, I know you like doing cosplay and you do your hair constantly. You're constantly messing with your, putting on stuff and doing stuff. I mean, you really feel like this has been a struggle? Because I wouldn't have figured this out to save my life. I didn't see this coming. And I'm pretty open to everything. I just want to know why. I just needed the explanation to justify it because it was just so abrupt, at least to me. And I want to know, and then whatever happens, happens. It's all up to you. I just want to, I guess, really get to the root of it to see if it's just some, I don't know, you're just reaching out for something, or is it really, really who you're meant to be?
Yeah, I haven't really spoke to about the issue with anybody. It was more of between me and myself. I might have told a few people here and there, but I finally came to terms and decided that I would tell everybody and go from there and try to start, instead of doing for everybody else, try to make myself happy.
You see what I'm talking about. Now we have somewhat of video, and I'm bringing the guests on at that point in the show that we're starting to bring people on as we were transitioning into more live in-person videos of the guests. And you can see her. She's already doing the best she can to start boying out. Hats on backwards, the look, big T-shirts, whatever. I mean, it's pretty typical for those of you who are, who understand. I mean, to see a girl who's trying to be more of a male, there's that certain look. They all have it. It's kind of like, it's very generic for that specific lifestyle. I mean, I hate to say they all look the same, but it's like if you're a girl that wants to be a guy, you that's how it kind of looks. It's that look, from the way you dress to the way you put on a hat to the way your hair is cut. I mean, let's face it, there's no lipstick on there and there's no makeup and you're trying to be a guy to the best of your ability, even though you're not. And so she's already in that mindset, and that was my biggest concern. It's like, okay, you're telling me this and all, okay, great, but are you sure? Are you sure this is what you want to do? Because, it's a big step. Again, I guess you could reverse it, but sometimes you do some damage doing this kind of thing, because it's not about just putting on clothes. She was going for medical treatments to be more of a male, which is insane. But, check this out. This is, we're just talking to her. I want to really make sure that she's just not somebody's gotten into her head and she's bought into the program.
Is this a phase you're going through, or, this has been for real, ongoing? And I mean, because, when you start looking or dressing like a boy and start, are you going to be the ones that like really pad yourself down? And I mean, is that the way you want to be? Or and then you got girls that like girls that are very feminine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I'm just trying to figure out what direction you're going, and is it going to be, permanent, or this is just seeing how it goes?
No, it's going to be permanent, because I'm supposed to be getting my blood work back tomorrow to be able to talk to my doctor about starting T-shots.
What's that do?
It's testosterone shots.
And what's that going to do for you?
That's a hard one to explain.
I'm listening. I got time. We're here. It's just you and me.
I tried to explain it the best I could to Mom the other day, because she asked me the same question. It's basically, how like females take estrogen and males have testosterone.
Yes.
It basically kind of transforms your body to more masculine tone.
Right. You want to shave.
And instead of having a more feminine body, you have more of a more masculine body.
Do you want to be able to shave, like grow hair on your face?
Yeah.
Really, let me tell you something. I'm going to hip you up. This is a little thing. Shaving sucks. Okay, it sucks. It's a pain in the ass. Unless you want to be, Nick the Bearded. I'm just giving you a little heads up. You might, if I could have this all ripped out and never have to shave, I'm sick of shaving every day. Every day. That is if you want a smooth face. Now, if you want to be all roughed up and I don't know. To me, it's overrated. But so just for that, and honestly, I didn't know what to expect when I was going to ask you these things, because this is a hell of a commitment you're doing right here. You know what I mean? And yes, I guess you can change your mind later and all that, but I'm just only because I've been watching you for so many years now, and I just want to make sure that it's just not because of all the circumstances around you.
And I was concerned. I am concerned. Or was back then, because it just out of the blue, I don't want to be a girl anymore. This is who I always wanted to be. There was never any talk about it. I guess you got to start somewhere. So I gave her the benefit of the doubt, but I was concerned. And lastly, about the commitment. And she starts explaining to me all these, and earlier on, and before I started playing the videos, I was telling you about all these different, all the different verbiage, your pansexuals, your bisexuals, your bifocals, your non-binary, your transgender, all these new words that are just ridiculous, made up things recently over the past 5, 7, 10 years. They're not. I really want to know who came up with these words, these new descriptions. But the thing was, she was attempting to explain it to me, and again, my concern for her, because at the end of the day, you deserve as a human being to be happy. And if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But you better be sure about what the decisions you're making, because they could bite you in the ass, so to speak, especially if you change your mind. Or, there should be no change in your mind if you're that sure of who you are. There's a lot of transgender people who are who they are, despite the ridicule, despite everything they have to go through. They know it's uncomfortable, but they can't help it because that's who they are. And I accept that. It's the ones that are just reaching into the stars. Let me try this. That's what I want to be today. I want to be, it just makes me crazy. It's like, focus. And then we have to respect you as you're making all these ridiculous decisions, because you have no clue about what you want to do in your life and how you want to do it and all that kind of stuff, and you get upset. Not everybody. The ones that scream, they're really confused. But check this out, last clip, and then I'm gonna tell you that, God, I wish she was here. I have one big question for her, and she's not here. I just hope she's okay, because if she's not, she's gonna get a talking to from me. The dad's gonna come out in me. Anyway, check this last video out with her. And this is still the same thing from September 2020. Just wanting to make sure she's going to be happy, because it's a huge step, and I don't want to see the regrets.
So this is really what's going to make you happy, or is this filling a hole?
No, it's what's going to make me happy, finally being able to be who I feel I should be and be myself for once.
So, okay, so you think that you're going to be able to date a guy and still feel like a guy, and will he be a straight male or a gay male, or I don't.
I mean, really, it's their gender preference, their sexuality preference, versus like who they date, who they consider themselves to date. And I consider myself pansexual.
You consider yourself what?
Pansexual.
Pan?
They date, yeah.
With a P? It's P-A-N? Only reason I'm repeating is because it's a little hollowy. That's why I wish you had earbuds. Next time I'll send you some, okay? A pansexual. I've never heard that term. Please explain to my 3 or 3 million.
It's where you basically you don't label who you date. You can date guy, girl, a transgender person. So basically, you don't put a label on who you.
Well, then what is non-binary? What is non-binary? Because I mentioned that you said I'm not non-binary. What does that mean? I think it's a weird term.
a non-binary person is someone that doesn't consider themselves more feminine nor more masculine. They consider themselves gender neutral. They don't consider themselves one or another.
I know, but how can you be gender neutral? I mean, so to me, it's like what you're saying you are right now. You're kind of gender neutral, aren't you?
No.
What do you mean no? You're telling me you'll take the best of both worlds.
Basically, that's why I can explain it.
Well, that's okay.
I'm transitioning from being in a feminine body to a more masculine body. So it's female and male transgender.
Right, but a lot of these non-binaries, I mean, they look kind of, middle of the roadish. I've never seen a super sexy non-binary. Let's put it that way. I mean, like a female, Jessica Rabbit. I'm not non-binary. I haven't seen it yet. True or false?
True.
Okay. Wow. Again, I didn't know what to expect tonight with you. I just want you happy. You know what I mean? And I don't want you grabbing straws. And that's why I said, I don't know, does this girl need a talking to? Peter's got to know, because I care about you. And your mama cares about you, and she's been on this show with you, and we were doing it via phone calls. And I said, now we've kind of changed things, and we're doing a little bit of video, and I want you to tell the world. I mean, because this is stuff that you can watch yourself, and I just want you to be sure about yourself and just not doing stuff out of confusion because you can.
Right.
Confusion is the key. Non-binary, pansexual, androgynous, that's just more of the word, but yet we create more confusion by coming up with all these cockamamie other words. Why can't you just be whoever you are and love whoever you want to love, and that's that? But we got to put a label on everything. We got to come up with more labels. Keep it simple, stupid. It's been good for a long time, and now everything's gotten complicated, and we got so many other things to worry about. But here's what bothers me the most about Nicole not being on the show tonight. And again, I hope she's okay, because this does not seem like her to stand me up. But I wanted to ask Nicole from that 2020, where she was dead set that she was going to transition over. I don't know what changed her mind. How far did she start? Did she start? Because all I know is that this is what she looks like now, and this is all I've got for right now. I wasn't expecting this, but that's what she looks like now. Now, her hair's got a bunch of different colors in it, but she looks like a woman. And you can see the little divot in her lip where she had a lip piercing, and there's some other ones on her eyebrows, but they're gone. And this is what she looks like. She looks like a girl, the girl that she's meant to be. And again, if she wasn't meant to be, she would have followed through and, changed it, gone through all that ridicule and heartache and tough stuff. But this is Nicole. This is the girl that I wanted to talk to tonight and find out what happened and how come you decided to stay who you are, Nicole, the girl, the woman, the mother of 3 children. That's really what I wanted to ask her. How did she change her mind when we were so dead set, or she was so dead set in these conversations and going through therapy and talking to therapists about transitioning and all that? How do you turn it off since you're so dead set? That's really what I wanted to know, and this is killing me. The whole purpose. I am proud of her because she's come a long way. She told me she's getting ready to start school now. She's going to become a phlebotomist. People who draw blood and things like that, for those of you who don't know what that is. Because personally, I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy. But she's going to be a phlebotomist. You're welcome. The jokes are free, babe. Anyway, I really wanted to know how. Thank God. Because her kids are going to have to deal with the repercussions down the road too. That's your mom. It's hard, but yet you're accepting for the one you love if that's really what they want to do. Again, I don't want to catch no shit from people either, because I support the ones that have to go do what they have to do, but I don't support the ones who just can't make up their friggin' mind about anything. Well, I support you if you can listen to reason. But if you're just way out there and you're standing around and screaming at these protests and all that, you want to be recognized as a friggin', whatever word of the day that you want to use, and you want to have a 3-month celebration about your courage to be who you are. It's like, come on, stop it. All the people I know who are gay and bisexual and all that kind of stuff, they just keep it on the down low. They just want to live their lives. They just want to live their lives. They don't need to be on TV screaming about it on the 6 o'clock news. So that was it. I really wanted to know and hear it from Nicole how she changed, what made her change her mind and not go through with it. And all of a sudden she's on the path of, instead of working at Burger King or this and that, she's going to go to school for something that's going to give her an income, a career, so to speak, medical to not only support herself, but to just be on track for keeping it together. It's hard. I can't imagine having 3 kids. It's hard with the one I had. I mean, she was cake too. It's time consuming. It takes away all the things you want to do to the things you have to do. Not to say you don't love what you do with them, but it takes away a lot of your personal life. That's for sure. Unless you're a piece of crap parent. You have to put in the time. They require attention and time. Going to 3 different classes and schools, and then depending on the age difference, who goes to one school at what time and what time another one goes to another school, it's hard. I used to do so many shows talking about this stuff. Go into the old shows. There's a lot of good stuff there, talking about getting through it, surviving it when you're a single parent and things like that. Anyway, that's it. Last look. This was Nicole, the girl that I wanted to have on the show. That's pretty much a current picture of her. And I was hoping to sum this all up and say, thank God, I'm very proud of you for keeping it on the straight and narrow. And I gotta know why she was so sure she wanted to be a guy and now she doesn't. That's a big one. That will unlock a lot of doors. But here's who she was currently and is. And it seems like, again, she's just one piece at a time taking the crazy out of her. Or not the crazy. She's not crazy. She's just reaching for things, doing things that to fill that hole that I spoke of. Anyway, that's it. That was it. God, I wish she was here. I hope she's okay. Next week, you'll have the opportunity to possibly call and talk to me as we're going to talk about holidays and a lot of things. I'm playing it by ear through the holidays. I think we might even do a couple of retro shows. I got to dig up. It's going to be Christmas before you know it. First of the year, a lot of change for this guy, this show, I think. Not exactly sure, but there's a lot of things coming to fruition, and then starts the beginning of the year again, and we're going to take a little break, and I need it. Everybody deserves a little bit of time off. And that's it. My name is Peter G. Thank you for watching Life with Peter G, the Peter G Show. I hope you're sharing with your friends. I do. And I truly thank you for putting in the time and watching. I know it takes a lot of dedication to watch a long form show. And I love you for it. I do. And for those who want to watch the show, it's always on demand. You can watch any show you want after the show is live. In fact, we do even better afterwards because people choose to watch the show when they can. I appreciate that. But for those of you who can't watch the show, put an earbud in your ear, take it in the car with you, take it to work with you. You can listen to Google Peter G Show podcast, audio version of this show. Sometimes it's harder because when I'm showing videos, it's hard to get it, but I try to be, try to understand that people are just listening to the podcast and that you could relate to what I'm doing on the show. But sometimes it gets a little bit, I wish you were watching, but for the most part, pretty much together and you get the point. But let's face it, folks, you're at work, put an earbud in your ear because work is boring. Just over 300 shows, almost 400 shows to choose from. Every topic from serious, good to bad, ugly, funny, entertainment with a purpose. Promise you there's something in each show if you're willing to watch. Please share with your friends, though. I need your help. Need your help. We got to expand. But I want you to join me next week, all right? When it's just me and you, and if you got the guts, I'll even take your calls, I think, throughout the month of December when I'm on. Lastly, please be kind. Happy Thanksgiving. Tomorrow, I hope you're with friends and family, and if you don't have friends or family, you're not alone. It's just one day, okay? I get it. I've gone through it. Had several Thanksgivings or major holidays where I just sat alone. I was going through some stuff. We all do. It's just a day. That day will be over in the blink of an eye, and life keeps moving. And that's what you need to do. You need to keep moving forward because that's the way the world works. It does not stop turning. And okay, everybody's entitled to a bad day here and there, but I know it's more emphasis on the holidays. That's why we're going to talk about the holidays. A lot of people, it just brings the heavy on you. Not everybody's got this joyous occasions and feeling warm and cozy, but we're going to talk about all that stuff too. Plus, times are tough right now. Times are hard. Things are expensive. We will talk about all that stuff possibly next week. Possibly let you chime in and tell me how you're getting through everything. But that's what's happening. So please be kind regardless. Take a breath before you speak if you're getting ready to bark. When you get poked, it's not hard to do. There's a lot of, tenseness in the air. It's rough. It's rough. That's it. Life is short. I will see you next week right here, every Wednesday like clockwork or on demand, however you choose to watch. So long as you watch, subscribe, and share, please. My name is Peter G. I thank you. I truly thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love you guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Be grateful. Be thankful. I am. I love you guys. Peace out.
Peter G Show. Peter G Show. Divorce dad. Single dad.